Welcome back to lesson 3.4, which is solving equations with the variables on both sides. So this is going to be a little bit different than what we saw in lesson 3.1, 3.2, and 3.3. Okay? So again, we've listed all the steps that go on with solving these types of equations. So you'll see what the steps are right here. Step 1 is to simplify both sides of the equation by distribution and or combining like terms. Okay? This may be necessary in some equations. Other equations, we might totally be able to bypass it and just move on to step 2, which is moving your variables to one side of the equation by adding or subtracting. Okay? And remember, if we have a positive, for example, 2b, all right, what we're going to do to move it to the other side is we're going to do the opposite. We're going to subtract the 2b. All right? Step 3, we want to move our constants to the other side of the equation to isolate our variable. And then step 4, what we're going to do is we're actually going to go ahead and solve for our variable by multiplication or division. Okay. Now, these types of equations are special because, oh, spelled that wrong right there. That should be an O. All right, one solution. These types of equations are special because they can actually give you 3 different types of answers. All right. What we've been doing so far is we've been ending up with, in section 3.1, 3.2, and 3.3, answers. We've been ending up with solutions. Like, for example, a one solution equation, you're going to end up with something like this, x equals 3, okay? Or you're going to end up with something like this, p is equal to negative 22, all right? You actually end up with your variable equal to some number where this solution, if you substitute it back into your equation, will make both sides of your equations equal to each other, okay? Now, no solution, and I'll show you some examples of those. What will happen with those is you'll actually end up with the variables gone, all right? For the most cases, your variables will be gone, and you'll come up with something like this. You'll have like, negative 15 is equal to 11 at the end, all right? And negative 15 equals 11, well, we all know that this right here, that equation is totally false. Negative 15 does not equal 11. So this right here would be known as a no solution, and we would actually use this symbol. We'd have a 0, all right, and we'd have a line through it, and that would be no solution. Okay? Another type of answer we could get would be this, all real numbers, which is simplified by writing this, all right? And then you can go ahead and you can draw a capital R, and you can put another line through it. That's the symbol right there for real numbers, all right? And what happens with all real numbers is you actually end up with something like this, 7 equals 7, all right? And if 7 equals 7, I mean, is that true or is that false? Well, we know that 7 equals 7, so that is a true answer, all right? So what happens when we want to do equations where all real numbers is our solution, all right? Pretty much it means that any number that you put in for the variable, both sides will equal each other. Whereas this one, where we ended up with a false equation, all right, pretty much means that there is absolutely no number that you could put in where we're going to have an answer, a solution that works. Okay, so let's try. Let's go ahead and let's try a few of these using our steps, okay? So like we've done in the past, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw in a line to separate both sides of my equation, okay? So I got my left side, I got my right side. Is there any distribution that we have to do on the left side or the right side? Okay, no distribution, no combining like terms. So we're going to move on to the next step, where we're just going to take and we're going to move my variables to one side, okay? So I'm actually going to take this positive 14 right here. It's a positive 14. And I'm going to move it to the other side by doing the opposite. I'm going to subtract 14x, which means then on this side I'm going to subtract 14x. And there is the first step that we have to do. 15x minus 14x is 1x. We don't even have to write the 1 in front of it. All right? You bring down your minus 8. You bring down your equal sign. 14 minus 14 gives me 0 x's. And then I bring down my 13, and I have x minus 8 is equal to 13. Okay? So I got my variable on one side. which means then I want to take and I want to move my constants to the other side. So I'm going to get rid of this minus 8 by adding 8 here and adding 8 here. Draw my line, didn't touch my x, so I bring that down. Negative 8 plus 8, 0. X equals 21. This is an example of a equation that has one solution. All right, the only number that will work for this one is 21. Number 2. Take a look at this. Draw my line. All right. Do we have to do distribution or combining like terms in this one? We don't have to, so we're just going to move on to isolating our variable, moving them all to one side. So I'm going to subtract 4z here. I'm going to subtract 4z on this side. All right. 4z minus 4z gives me 0 z's, so that cancels out. And on this side, I'm left with my negative 15 that I bring down. Bring down my equal sign. 4z minus 4z goes away, goes to 0. Bring down my 11. And I end up with this equation where my variables are gone because they all canceled out. Negative 15 equals 11. All right? If we go back up here to my choices, all right, negative 15 we see does not equal 11. That is not a true equation there, okay? This is false. So the answer to this one actually comes out to be no solution. There is absolutely no number that we could put into this equation that would make the left-hand side equal the right-hand side. Let me go ahead and make up an example right now of something that we would have. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and let's do number 3 right here. Okay? Draw my line. This one requires, looking on the left-hand side, we have to distribute, and we have to distribute right here. Okay? What's 4 times w? 4w. 4 times positive 3 plus 12. Bring down my equal sign, and on this side, we did not have to distribute or combine like terms. All right? Now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to keep working here. All right? We're going to move my w's to one side. All right? So I would go ahead and I would take this 1w and move it this way. All right? But some people might want to take this 4w and move it this way. That's fine. Let's try it that way. Minus 4w and minus 4w. The only problem with doing it this way is when we cancel this out, bring my 12 down. On this side, we have 1 minus 4w. We end up with a negative coefficient, which is fine, and you'll see why. Okay? What should I do with this minus 15? My variables are on the right side. I want to take and I want to move my, constants to the other side. 12 plus 15 gives me 27 is equal to negative 3w. And the last step is to divide by negative 3. Divide by negative 3. I get w is equal to negative 9. Okay? Skip 4. I'm going to give you an example right now for number 4. All right? Let's do this. 3 times 4a plus 7 is equal to 5a plus 21 plus 7a. Okay? So let's go ahead and let's solve this one by drawing my line. On the right-hand side here, we're going to distribute. I get 12a here, and we're going to distribute here, and we get plus 21 equals. Now, on this side over here, we can go ahead and we can combine my like terms. I have a positive 5a, and I have a positive 7a. What is 5a's plus 7a's? We're going to end up with 12a here. Cross it off, and I bring down my 21. Okay? Now, right now, it should look pretty. We should start recognizing something that 12a plus 21 equals 12a plus 21. It looks like they're going to be very similar. All right, but we're still going to go ahead and continue by moving my a's to one side. So minus 12a. All right, 12a minus 12a goes to 0a, so I bring down my 21. 12a minus 12a goes to 0, so I bring down my 21. And look at what we have here. 21 equals 21. True or false? Well, that's true. So we know that if, let's go up here real quick, if we have a answer where we end up with something like this right here, all right, the answer comes out to be all real numbers, which pretty much means that if we took any number that we wanted, 1, 2, 5, a million, whatever number you put in here, the right-hand side and the left-hand side will go ahead and equal each other for whatever number you substitute in for A. Okay, the rest you can go ahead and try on your own, but that right there is a tutorial on how to go ahead and solve equations with variables on both sides.